Good morning, Arizona, coming at you pre-recorded from in my bedroom. This is Kyle Smith.
And this is Jose Tapia.
Obviously, from last semester of being pre-recorded, we're still being pre-recorded because we cannot enter the studio to come at you live. But we're going to have all the same energy, regardless if we're live or not. We're from the past. We're talking to you in the future.
From the past.
Yes. So, just kicking things right off. Oh boy, who would have thunk that our little school radio station that no one listens to, come on, let's be real, no one listens to but my dad, we would make national and international news.
Yeah, that's, we're big boys now.
We're big boys. In case some of you have not heard, this is going to be a long story, so buckle up, folks. But our former station manager, Rae'Lee Klein, was removed by interim Dean Gilger of Walter Cronkite for a very uncontroversial tweet that was made into controversy. So far, the story has featured in the Daily Mail, Campus Reform, New York Post, which she got a full spread in the physical format, The Hill. She was on Fox and Friends for an interview. She's been tweeted out by, her story has been tweeted by Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovich, my personal favorite, and Laura Ingraham. So it's been a big deal. The Daily Mail being an international news source of anything, if any, just crazy. British from across the pond. They're over here worrying about our little college radio station.
Because where we go, everybody else follows, basically. America is, for better or worse, people look to us to kind of set the stage for culture.
Yes. This is a little old now, but if you remember, you think back to all of last month. I know it seems like forever ago with how the world is. But in August, a black man was shot by police by the name of Jacob Blake for potentially reaching for a knife. We'll get into that story. But in late August, our former station manager, Rae'Lee, she retweeted a New York Post article that was detailing the warrant out for Jacob Blake. This warrant detailed just a quote-unquote trigger warning here, graphic details. Supposedly breaking into his ex-girlfriend's house, physically forcing an appendage into her, if you get my drift, in front of a child, and stole her car keys. So the warrant detailed that he also had she filed a restraining order against him, which he was violating at the time of the shooting later, because he was harassing her. But anyways, her tweet retweeted that article and said, quote, "Always more to the story, folks. Please read this article to get the background of Jacob Blake's warrant. You'll be quite disgusted." That was the entire tweet. Sexual assault bad. And, oh boy, it caused a firestorm of, again, people who don't actually listen to us.
How is that a controversy to say the truth?
Multiple student organizations called for her to be fired, claimed it was racist, and I identify with Jacob Blake, which, by the way, if you identify with that guy, something wrong with you. I'll just tell you right now. I don't care if that's controversial.
Not everybody who's shot by a police officer is innocent of any wrongdoing. Throwing it out there.
Yes. Regardless, again, we could argue on the shooting if that was justified or not. That's a different argument. But Rae'Lee made no discussion of whether that was justified or not. She just said, "Hey, sexual assault, disgusting." She apologized and took it down after backlash, and she made the statement that, "I'm not saying he deserved it or not." It didn't matter though. It didn't matter to apologize. These people don't actually care about that. They just want to be validated and feel worthy, and because it's about power. It's not about learning or discussion or understanding. It's about power.
And it satisfies their need for feeling better than you. They're feeling of superiority.
Yeah, so as I said, multiple school groups called for firing, groups of like journalism and race-based groups. The board of directors to our radio station, who are below her because she's a station manager, she was the top dog. They voted to not recognize her as station manager any further. Obviously, this caused a big hullabaloo. Which led to our first Zoom meeting as a station for the semester, and I'll let you in on that train wreck.
Oh boy, what happened there, Kyle?
We were both there. So the directors basically admitted to that they were, at this point, not a ton developed with Dean Gilger stepping in yet. The directors said that they voted not to recognize Rae'Lee as station manager because they didn't think she could effectively lead, even though she was still willing to work with everyone who disagreed with her. They also said unless she's removed, they would all quit because they're big babies.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I will give them a little credit since then they've kept some professionalism with me talking to them because I know they don't like me. And they've kept our show on. So I will give them some credit. But overall, I do not have a very positive opinion of them. And I'm just keeping it light, somewhat respectful. But you catch my drift, people. They basically admitted to it being a political decision. I'm not going to say who. I know who outright admitted this. But I don't want... By the way, if anyone's actually listening to this, all three of you out there, I don't want you tweeting at these people or harassing them. Let's be better than they are. So, anyways, Rae'Lee was still willing to work with everyone. They weren't. The whole Zoom meeting was a garbage heap of people claiming that she wasn't a leader and things of that nature, even though she was quite willing to work with them still, even being in the Zoom meeting when everyone was just pounding on her for being supposedly racist. People were crying. I thought it was pathetic.
Yeah, what kind of society do we live in where somebody stating the truth is going to get you riled up to the point where you can't control your own emotions?
Right, because again, and I will get to my testimony during this meeting, but again, there was nothing racist in here. All it said was, again, I'll read it to you again. Always more of the story, folks. Please read this article to get the background of Jacob Blake's warrant. You'll be quite disgusted. All she did was share the story of this police warrant and say she was disgusted by sexual assault. What is controversial or misleading there? Which, by the way, ASU, I forgot to mention this. ASU came out and said a tweet was misleading. It goes against our journalism code. They never explained why.
No,
Rae'Lee's been fired, or Rae'Lee's been removed since then. They never explained, they never actually explained what part of any code she violated. We're not organizing this the best, but there's been so much to talk to you about since this developed. I wish we were on the air since the beginning, and this would be a little more organized, but there's just so much that happened. Anyways, back to this first Zoom meeting. So people in our group were saying they were going to boycott unless she was removed. They wanted her out. They was yelling and screaming and crying. Then I came on. I said, "Here comes Big Chad." So I gave my testimony that the directors and everyone here were upholding rape culture. Here was a woman decrying the sexual assault of an innocent girl, which, by the way, is not getting any of the sympathy Blake is getting.
Nope,
It is not getting the money. It's not getting the support. She's seeing, and innocent until proven guilty, but there was enough there for a warrant and a restraining order. And then he further harassed her, which makes me lead to believe there's a good chance it happened, that he did sexually assault her. Her victimizer is getting all this positive publicity. The Saints put his name on their helmets at practice back then. Just yikes. So I accuse the directors of upholding rape culture, right? Of just not caring about this woman being assaulted, right? A woman was coming out in support of another woman, and that's what triggered the mostly male board of directors. Very interesting. 4 out of 6 of the directors are male. Again, not gonna name any names. Don't want any harassment towards them. I'm just saying. I'm pointing out the facts. More men than women. Very interesting. I called them bad allies, which I think they are. Now, to be perfectly honest with you folks, I hate that terminology. I don't need a white ally, okay? As a Hispanic American, I don't need your white saviorism, which we'll get to that. Oh boy, are they some white saviors. Which, again, all the board directors are white.
Interesting.
Interesting. Anyways.
Could stand to use a little diversity, maybe?
Right. So, me, my high and mighty Mexican Americanness, I tried to set these people straight as bad allies. And oh boy, did that trigger some people. People were calling me disingenuous. Because they didn't like their own talking points being brought against them. They didn't like being held to their own standards.
Yeah.
Of supposedly caring about the victimization of innocents, especially women, as happened in this situation.
They got them really riled up, man.
They got them really riled up because they only care about that stuff if it fits into a victimization hierarchy, right? There are certain classes of people who rank above each other because these very far leftists are not individualists. It's all group politics. And so, regardless of the crime, if you're if you're in an identity group that's above another, because there's a totem pole, then they're gonna give you a lot more leeway than others.
Get away with more stuff.
Right. So, we Hispanic Americans, we outrank whites. I'm telling you things like that. Now, I definitely do not subscribe to that notion. I'm telling you what these people think. But the problem is, right? These white allies, they want to be your friend. They want to be allies. They want to listen to you until you do not fall into their indoctrination. You don't fall into their approved scope of political views. And then, oh boy, they turn from presenting themselves as innocent and your ally to your superior so fast.
Oh, yeah. They'll call you a traitor, that you're not representative of your people, that you don't care about your people.
Oh, people were insinuating that in the Zoom call after. People were still talking about my testimony hours later, which was great. But, it did lead to some positive, which I was proud of, not to toot my own horn at all. I don't think I did that amazing. Afterwards, I thought, man, I could have done a lot better. But several people came to me, said they loved my testimony. What was most important to me is several minorities. Again, I don't want to name names because they're still worried about potential backlash. But several minority immigrant students actually came to me and said, really thank me for speaking out. They said even though they are minority immigrants, non-white people, non-white, non-American, they were worried about being labeled as racist. They were worried about being chastised and outcasted. And these are the kind of people we're dealing with is that it's not even white. It extends past white people who are now worried about just simply sticking up for someone else and saying, hey, I don't think they're racist.
Now even the minorities are afraid of being labeled racist.
Are scared, right.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad I could do that for them.
Because minorities do not have all the same viewpoint. We have very diverse viewpoints, come from very different backgrounds, different experiences. We're not going to all believe what the coddled upper class believe. That's just not true.
Right. The thing is, in this meeting, right, the white board of directors said, we want to hear from these minorities that are affected by these comments. And there were several people, and these people weren't white. There were several, again, I don't think any of this should hold value in an argument. Your skin tone or race or sex. Several non-white people were speaking as if they were speaking for all of their racial group, right? Even though Jose, I, and other people just denied that as a group, not everyone's offended. We proved that there were minorities who were on Rae'Lee's side, and yet people would go after us or saying, as Mexican Americans or as this or that, we are offended by this. This is racist. You can't claim that this is not racist because it's not your place as a white person. Which again, I don't know how race plays a role in a logical argument, but this is how these people think. And it leads me to believe that, oh man, my school is going down the drain.
Yeah, we do not value the truth anymore.
Oh, by the way, I just want to make it clear. Never, ever donate to ASU, ever.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. First of all, you're goofy for donating to a school anyways that rakes in millions of dollars through taxpayers, through sports, through dorms, for rent. What do they even need that money for? They are entirely inefficient with it anyways. Costs go up every year regardless of how much money they rake in. So first of all, never donate to them. ASU's garbo, especially with this. Anyways, you're just seeing the mob mentality of this. So then we were in a deadlock for weeks, which is why we're only coming to you in October 4th, right? School started in August. We're coming to you October 4th as our first show. We were in a deadlock for weeks because Dean Gilger was hesitant to remove Rae'Lee because she legally couldn't do it, even though she's now done it anyways. Anyways, we were in a standstill. Here's an email from Kristen Gilger, the interim dean, on September 15th to Rae'Lee. Rae'Lee published this because, staff was taking heat. They were taking heat from, I won't even say conservatives, people who actually care about logic and freedom of speech. And they're taking heat from the far left groups, identitarians. So this is an email from Kristen Gilger to Rae'Lee as far as her options on how to proceed. It says, quote, "As we've discussed, staying on as station manager is not an option. You have three options. Reassignment to another student worker position, remain on the board with the assignment I outlined, start your own station. Which of these do you prefer?" Which, first of all, just paints her as, I'm sure she's a very nice lady. I'm sure she's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
On opposite day. And, this led to a Zoom meeting too, which the directors confirmed to us that Rae'Lee would not remain as station manager. I personally made them reiterate, and they said yes, it was Dean Gilger's personal decision to remove Rae'Lee, which is an outright violation of the First Amendment. ASU is a publicly funded school. They had to abide by the Constitution completely. They don't have any personal liberties. They are a government institution. So what Dean Gilger did is entirely illegal, a violation of the First Amendment. And as such, Rae'Lee is lawyered up at this point, and we'll see where that goes. But as of right now, Rae'Lee is not station manager, unfortunately. But oh boy, this Zoom meeting. So the board of directors told us this, that Rae'Lee would not be station manager. Oh, you should have heard them, man. They were so self-congratulatory. They're telling me, like, we're still fighting this fight in the background.
Wow, what a fight. A fight against the truth.
Right. They'll just like, basically, like, we're protecting you. I just felt so safe. I felt so safe from this white devil Rae'Lee. Yeah. And the board of directors were protecting me. These white saviors were protecting my Hispanic ears from the racism of this one girl. Oh man, I felt protected. I felt safe. I could sleep sound in my bed.
Just knowing that these people...
I want them on that wall. I need them on that wall. A few good men. That's what it reminded me of. They were just reeked of white saviorism. That we have to protect our fragile minority friends, our allies, because they cannot decide for themselves. They have no backbone. They can't listen to these words again of sexual assault being disgusting. Can't do it.
The perpetually offended will baffle me always. They didn't even take a chance to look at what she was even saying or why she was saying it. They just assumed the worst and went with it.
Not to mention the reassignment that Dean Gilger outlined, which we found out in the second Zoom meeting. This wasn't the name for it. This is the name I gave it. Was White Guilt Officer. The position, the quote-unquote director position that would be handed to Rae'Lee in exchange for stepping down calmly, peacefully, would to research implicit bias for the year. Basically sit in timeout in detention for a whole year, researching how racist she was.
Think about what you've done wrong.
You're an evil whitey, and you said that sexual assault was disgusting. How dare you?
Jesus. Everything has become so polarized that you can't even discuss the truth of an incident that's outside what's been told to you without being labeled a villain.
When I heard that, I couldn't help but have my jaw drop. I looked a little bit like a soy boy. I just couldn't help it. It just sounded so comical. It sounded like parody.
Yeah.
That this supposed, equivalent director position they were giving her was just to research BS about how racist she is. Implicit bias.
Yeah, this whole critical race theory has gone too far.
It's basically just whitey bad, everyone else good.
Yeah.
We could talk more about that later, but it was just comical. I don't have much to say about it. It's just ridiculous.
Anybody who's looking at that and think, oh yeah, this is definitely warranted for what she said. Anybody who thinks like that, you don't have common sense. That's just right here, straight now. I'll tell you right now.
What I think is lost in this too is even if she said something slightly worse, there was no potential for redemption. She apologized. She removed it. She was willing to talk to everyone about it. She held her position on some of it, right? That's people wanted people wanted her to entirely submit, which she didn't do. She said, maybe I could have said this better. I'll listen. I'll talk to you. I'll conversate. And that's all you can ask for, I think. But that wasn't enough.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. It's never enough. I'm looking at you, Drew Brees.
You have to capitulate entirely and bend to the mob, otherwise you're going to be castigated. And that just goes to show that they think collectively.
And this is, and again, I don't think she needed to apologize to begin with. I'm just saying, even if it was slightly worse, she was never given that opportunity. It was just all or nothing. Just you're fired for one mistake. And again, I don't think it was a mistake. I'm just saying. And the thing is, this is her dream, and she worked very hard to become station manager. I mean, it's a big deal. She worked very hard in Blaze. She was taking plenty of responsibility with this job, with this position. Before the Olympics were canceled, Cronkite was even going to send her to cover the Olympics in Japan.
Wow.
Yes, and all that, meaningless. You said, again, sexual assault's bad. So, another funny thing is about the second Zoom meeting for us in Blaze and additional talk going forward is this whole families talk, right? They talk about Blaze being a family and there's such good vibes and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to be your family. I don't care about you. I'm here to do a job. I'm here to hold my show, and that's it. If I become friends with people in the workplace, that's great. But that is not what I'm there for. And I think that opens up my mind on how these people operate, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, everyone's got to be friendly all the time. We all have to have this fake form of unity.
Right. Damn the truth. Damn opposing perspectives, because that'll disrupt the unity, and we can't have that.
Right, but these people think that only this total unity is the only way things can function properly, which is not true.
No, it's not.
You just have to be mature and adult and agree to disagree, or
or compromise,
or just hold productive debates, or just be like, "Oh, I don't agree with that," In fact, I think it's kind of dumb. But so long as you can confidently do your job, that's okay. That's whatever.
No, you have to agree with them 100% and share the same values and beliefs. Otherwise, you're an enemy.
Yes, which is something. Unfortunately, I saw Steelers management do recently with they. I don't want to get into that. Never mind. We will leave that for another time. Or that's past now. But it goes to show that their number one goal is unity and being family and friendly with everyone, and it's just weird. You don't have to be friends with everyone. I've had this personally when I was working at ASU as a CA. My co-CA was really bummed out. I didn't want to be personal friends with her, and it was just really weird. I'm like, we're co-workers. So long as we're working together properly, that's cool. We don't have to be friends and hang out all the time. I don't understand, but this is how these people think, right? Everything's got to be positive all the time. Everything's got to capitulate to how they want to see the world, how they operate. They can't have any conflict. They're very conflict averse. When there is conflict, they group up like this. How no one in the directors board of directors, was even sympathetic to Rae'Lee.
Nope, not at all. Not even
sympathetic. Not even saying like, okay. Even in their mind, they say, okay, this is a mistake. But I know you personally. I think you're a good person. You're a competent manager. You've held a director role in this organization before. Let's just find a solution to fix this moving forward. No, they just all grouped together and said get out because they took a little heat from people online that don't even listen to us.
Yeah, don't even listen to us. They didn't even want to discuss the actual point of what Rae'Lee said, what she tweeted out. That was never up for discussion. That was never up for consideration. Just, she is this way. She affected my feelings this way. That she has to go.
Right. So for all that family talk and good vibes talk, nobody cares. Nobody cares about you personally. Stop overvaluing yourself. I don't care. Jose doesn't care. Do you care?
I don't care. Get off your high horse.
Get out.
You're just a normal human being, and everybody...
We have a work relationship. I will continue to be positive in that work relationship. I really didn't insult the directors too much in this. I haven't directly insulted them, and I will continue to not do that. We just need a productive work relationship despite my personal views. And that's all that's important, not this family garbage.
Yeah, if your goal is an organization...
I don't know you!
Yeah.
Stop with that.
The goal should always be to find the truth as a news organization, and silencing voices that don't sound like yours is not going to bring you closer to the truth. It's going to bring you closer to a fake consensus, which is kind of what happened with the Soviet Union in order to appease the party. So we should not go down that path.
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have to wrap up for this week. This was a good recap of everything that's going on, why we're so far into the semester, only coming to you now. But I hope everyone has an amazing Sunday, and we'll see you next Sunday.
See you Sunday. Bye.